everybody, to the Rose Hill campus of Fordham University. My name is Andrew O'Connell as we introduce the new head coach of the Fordham women's basketball program, Bridgette Mitchell. We'll be starting today's official program with Athletic Director Ed Cull.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. Great to be with all of you on this beautiful day here on Rose Hill campus. It's an exciting time for Fordham Athletics and Fordham women's basketball. First, I want to thank President Tetlow. I want to thank our Board of Trustees, and I'd love to thank our search committee for their effortless hard work, their commitment, their time in terms of this interview process, in terms of our research, our background checks, a lot of conversations, a lot of late nights in terms of our evaluation of this process and making sure we found the absolute best leader for our women's basketball program, and I'm very confident that we did that. Our search committee was made up of Board of Trustee members Darlene Jordan, John Constantino, Christine Dreesen, former player and alum Kathleen Reedy, our faculty athletics rep Patricio Menez, our SWA McKinney Thompson, and Katie Young Stout from Turnkey, the firm we used in this process. I also would like to say a few words, first and foremost, in terms of thanking Coach Candace Green and our staff from this past season. The amount of professionalism, the leadership, the incredible strength that Coach Green and the entire staff presented this year in terms of taking over some challenging circumstances last August, and not only having the successful season they did, but being the tremendous leaders and professional Fordham people that they were, for Fordham women that they were, in terms of leading our student athletes and our team this year through very, very challenging circumstances. Never a complaint, never an issue, completely bearing down and truly making the best of a difficult situation. I cannot be more grateful, proud, and impressed of Coach Green and that staff. And I'd like to thank not only Candace Green, but Anita Jennings, Lauren Holden, Allie Keller, Liz Brown, and Paige Corkins for their tremendous and tireless effort and support of our women's basketball program. On behalf of Fordham University, I'm completely thrilled and excited to announce and introduce Coach Bridgette Mitchell as our next leader of our women's basketball program. Coach B has a tremendous resume in terms of working her way up from being a star at Duke University to a professional player, to many stops in terms of her recruiting experience and her recruiting expertise, to leading Northeastern the last 2 years, including being the 2023 Coach of the Year at the CAA. Coach B understands what a strong women's basketball program looks like. Coach B, from the very beginning, had a really good understanding of who Fordham University is, the job and the task at hand here at the university in terms of our mission, our values, our cura personalis, what that means in terms of being women and men for others. Trenton, New Jersey, tri-state area, understood the value of basketball here in the tri-state and what it means, and the opportunity and the potential to continue to grow the already successful women's basketball program here at Fordham University. As we always talk about here at Fordham University and the Fordham Athletics, it's about our student athletes, obviously, on the playing surface and off the playing surface. We talk a lot about not only the 4 years or 5 years here in terms of athletics, but obviously the 40 years afterwards, in terms of our alumni network, in terms of the opportunities of becoming successful leaders and young leaders in our world. We know what Fordham does in terms of our efforts in the community, in terms of service, in terms of internships and jobs. We're always so extremely proud of our student athletes, knowing that they, over a 3-year average here at Fordham University, have a higher GPA, retention rate, graduation rate, and career post-position rate than the rest of our general population. It's absolutely incredible what we stand for here at Fordham, and obviously what Coach B represents, and we're excited she will continue to build here for the Fordham Rams. She has a tremendous basketball mind. From the very beginning, a lot of questions and a lot of good questions in terms of understanding who we are, what we're about, who we want to be, whether it was challenging myself, challenging our committee, challenging our president, challenging our Board of Trustees. She knows what success looks like. She knows what commitment looks like and at the level it needs to be. And her vision, her playbook, her strategy in terms of building a program, in terms of sustainable success of a program, was extremely clear from day one. Energy, enthusiasm shines through. You're going to see that and hear that very quickly here. And we talk a lot about the Fordham fit in terms of the individual, knowing that not only it'd be a fit in terms of basketball success, and her resume speaks for itself, but knowing that Fordham would be a fit for her. And that was a lot of the process and a lot of our due diligence. And really, really we're happy and proud that she wanted Fordham as much as we even wanted her. And that was important in our process and something that shined throughout the interview. We're excited. We know we obviously have a tremendous choice here. We're very, very lucky to welcome the new leader of our women's basketball program. I ask you all to please welcome, known as Coach B, Bridgette Mitchell, the new head coach of our women's basketball program. There's some family here from New Jersey, as you could tell as well. Nice to have some Jersey roots and some more fans. So we welcome her family here also. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. God is good. He hears my prayers and the prayers of those that love me. So I'm super thankful to be here. Can everybody hear me okay? Awesome. First, President Tetlow, the energy and pride that she has for Fordham is infectious. As you all know, she's a trailblazer, a powerful woman that worked extremely hard to be where she is today. And not only is it admirable for me, it's also inspiring to me and the young ladies that I'll get a chance to coach at this university and beyond. Ed, for believing in me. I strongly believe that you understand, the mission of the university and to do everything that you can to enhance the experience of the athletes. So thank you for that. I'm unbelievably thankful for the opportunity, and I look forward to partnering with you to take this program to new heights. McKinney is dynamic and very knowledgeable. She's been so helpful for me getting acclimated already. I look forward working closely with you on a daily basis to enhance the player experience. The selection committee, Darlene, Jordan, Patricio, Manisi, Christine Drazen, John Constantino, Kathleen Reedy, Keith Ergo, our head men's coach. Having our head men's coach take the time when he's recruiting heavily to hop on a Zoom and spend time with me really shows that there's support here for our program. Keith and his staff had a wonderful season this year, and so I'm pumped to work alongside of you all every day. Katie Young Stout from Turnkey for finding me and believing in my abilities from the beginning. I'd next like to thank those that made it possible. First, Coach Robert White for seeing that tall, skinny girl and telling her mom that she should play basketball. You changed the trajectory of my life. The Bear family and Schuler family, you both helped my mom and I out so much to begin our petty school experience. Sean Casey, he's more than just a high school coach. He was like a father figure to me and taught me discipline. Thank you to his beautiful family for sharing him with me for all those years. The entire petty community. The back in the day, especially Mrs. Tennyson. Petty is the first place that instilled in me that the belief that people make places. Mike Flynn for all that he did to get me, this little girl from Trenton, New Jersey, college looks. The entire Duke community, the coaches, mentors, and friends that I met there. Each of you taught me what a true college experience should look and feel like. I mimic that daily. A special coach and mentor of mine, in this business, I was hosting free clinics for underprivileged youth in between season of going back to play professionally and being home in Trenton. And I told my AAU coach, Kevin Lynch, that I was doing this. He saw how my face lit up about the mentoring piece and mentoring aspect of that. And so some months later, he was getting his first Division I job at Wagner University. And Kevin was like, Mitch, you got to come with me. You got to come. And that started my coaching career. I only had one request when he asked me to join. I said, can I play every day? Like, can I go against the girls every day? So ladies, my team is here now. Get ready for this work. I still got it. Okay, that was my only request, and to be able to take off the way that my career did. So I really want to thank Kevin Lynch for seeing the coach in me. He threw the match on the fire, and it's been ablaze ever since. So definitely want to thank him for that. Thank you to all the head coaches that I've worked under. You each taught me things that prepared me for this opportunity at Fordham. I'd like to especially thank Coach Lance White. He taught me how gentle the athlete is and how important it is to take care of your staff. Thank you. I'd also like to thank some friends and mentors that have been helping me on this journey. Jeff Konya for my first shot at Northeastern, Regina Sullivan for always helping me grow, Jim Madigan for his support, Lynn Dunn and Fran Robinson for their guidance, Joanne and Alexander Gavin for their wisdom, the Sloan family for their encouragement, especially Elizabeth, the Tasher family for their support since my Duke days, Myron Rowe for his inspiration and encouragement, Marissa, Nasheed, Mia for all holding me down since middle school, Ashley Perez, who's always there when I call her. I really appreciate you all, and I'm thankful. My coaching friends, whose brains I pick on the daily. Katura Jackson and Andre Yerko, your loyalty and your work ethic is really appreciated. Landon Bussey, Sarah, Aaron, Latara, Joy, and Britt, you all constantly help me. Last, and most importantly, I'd like to thank my family. They're here today. My mom, Monica, and my big brother, William, who have supported me my entire life. Through the highs and the lows, you all have demonstrated the type of love that I will forever cherish. My brother's pep talks were always timely and great reminders that it's in me. It also helped my confidence beating him one-on-one for his whole life. So that definitely helped. My mother, her resiliency, you taught me that tough times don't last, tough people do. You've reminded me on countless occasions to stand up for myself, be bold and courageous. Thank you. I would not be where I am today without you two. And you two wouldn't be where you are today without your loves. My niece, Dallas, my nephew, Will, my sister-in-law, Karima, her father, Lloyd, my stepfather, Brian. Thank you for being a support system. My cousin Ronald, who's here today, Robin, who's here today, little Max. So thank you all for your love and support. Thanks to my cousins, my aunts, uncles, everyone who couldn't be here today, especially my Uncle Keith, my social media friends. Thank you all for the love that you all continuously show. Fordham. I'm not like many people. I don't have Fordham ties, no association with Fordham, but this is still a dream come true for me, to be a companion in the Jesuit mission of men and women for others. Being a good person and taking care of others are values that are needed in this world. To be a part of an institution whose mission aligns with my values is truly a blessing. To my athletes and future athletes, I'm excited to be your coach. Know that I'm going to love on you and stretch you out of your comfort zone. I am going to do that by showing that I'm human just like you. I make mistakes. I will be committed to caring about you as a person first. I'm going to lead with a relentless work ethic. I'm going to ignite your competitive spirit in ways that you haven't experienced. I'm going to challenge you to be the best every moment, both on and off the court. I'm going to prepare you for life through the game that we love so deeply. I ask that you meet me halfway so that we can do amazing things. We aren't going to promise the university or people wins. We aren't going to promise that we can do magical things. We are going to be a group of people that compete, work, and have fun. We know for a fact that wins will come in overflow once we establish our culture. We will promise that we will leave Fordham as intelligent, strong, impactful women of character that will change the world. Thank you all for being here today on Rose Thrill. And to those tuning in online, thank you so much. It's up for women's basketball here at Fordham. Let's go. Go Rams.
Just loves the game. Obviously was a tremendous player, has become a tremendous coach, winning Coach of the Year last year in the CAA, and a phenomenal recruiting background at 4 different stops, recruiting players, and almost loves the chase of recruiting players. And as you all know, in today's world, recruiting is such a major part of this. So the ability to, the fit coming from the tri-state area, understanding the value of hoops, understanding who Fordham is, and as I said up there, she wanted the job even more than we wanted her, and that was so important in terms of it being the true partnership we're looking for.
Ed, you spoke about, recruiting, and obviously Asia Dingle, Jada DePa, two grad students that have now left their time with Fordham women's basketball, but left such an impact while they were here. Talk about how you view Bridgette Mitchell in regards to the transfer portal, how important that is nowadays, and kind of even if you can talk a bit about your conversations with her regarding her philosophy on that transfer portal and hitting it hard.
No, that's a great question, Chris, and I think we kind of knew no matter what coming into the season with 8 graduating seniors, it was going to be a situation where we needed to obviously rebuild the program, and the challenges that I spoke about earlier for Coach Candace Green, unable to recruit with an interim title, unable to schedule with an interim title, so puts us a little bit behind the 8 ball. But you referenced Asia and Jada, actually 2 student athletes that were recruited out of the portal by Coach B to Northeastern when she first had started there. They chose Fordham, and we're so thankful and lucky they did based on the careers they had here. But she's aggressive in the portal. I think there's 3 kids on campus this week already and hitting the ground running in terms of those efforts. And I love that she was recruiting responsibilities everywhere she was, whether it was Wagner, JMU, Pitt, obviously at Northeastern. To turn that program around in 2 years is remarkable. And we just loved everything about her energy, enthusiasm, and her focus. Truly has a plan. Truly has a style and approach and a clear direction on that. And I think, the portal today, as you're referencing, is something that we have to be willing to dive into and adjust to. And I think we've seen it a lot of our other sports, including the men's side, which with Coach Ergo and staff here today. I think there's some benefits, Chris, honestly, in that, whether it be a sophomore or junior year where maybe it's not going so great, or you realize, wow, I need to really focus on my education. I need to focus on my career after graduation. And Fordham's become an attractive place in the portal. I think you've seen it on the men's side. You referenced Asia and Jada. So I think there's a lot of stars aligning in terms of understanding that Fordham, I went away, I tried something different. I tried maybe a Power 5 conference, and I realized now this is what I need. This is my fit. This is how do I make sure I get the best education, the best possibility for life after basketball. And that's what Fordham has to offer in terms of the whole package.
You mentioned the 8 graduating seniors, and looking at Coach Mitchell, particularly these last 2 years at Northeastern, where she constantly overperformed expectations looking at the preseason polls. Was that part of the equation, hiring her, knowing that there's going to be some turnover with the players, with the talent that's graduating?
Yeah, great point. It was something that was extremely attractive to me. I have a lot of respect for the CAA conference. A lot of states involved there, a lot of travel involved there, a lot of schools that down south in terms of the ability to travel. A school like Northeastern has to go far away. And to be able to turn that around in 2 years, not an easy task. Your partner here referenced the portal, which she was aggressive in terms of recruiting and finding some fits in her style of play. And I was very, very confident, and I am very confident in terms of her ability to turn around our roster here quickly and get us competitive in the A10. I think we understand what that playbook looks like. And let's be honest, we have been successful here in the A10, right? It's continuing the success and continuing to maintain that sustainability that we all desire and want.
Absolutely, Ed. I wanted to ask, we know Coach Mitchell brings to the table all of these attributes in regards to her recruiting and things that she's developed over the course of her career, but there's one attribute she brings to the table that she cannot control, which is her roots, her origins. And you mentioned during the presser she's from the tri-state area here. How important is that, not just to recruiting, but about being a leader here at Fordham University, to know the area well and to be from it?
I think it's very important. I do. And I think I talk a little bit about it in terms of even understanding who Fordham University is, right? You probably need to be somewhat familiar with the institution in terms of the East Coast, Northeast, Tri-State. She wanted it. She knew the fit. She knew the potential. She knew what was going on here and the success is going on here. And I think a lot of that plays from her Jersey roots. It's wonderful seeing 3 rows of family members here and a support staff for her, a family support system in place for her. As you know, growing up playing high school basketball in this tri-state area, she went to the highest of levels at Duke, winning a championship there and playing professionally. She knows the path of what women's college basketball looks like. She knows what talent looks like. She knows the struggles and the challenges, very much up to speed in terms of coaching today and dealing with mental health challenges and dealing with life support challenges, and making sure that we are there for the entire student athlete and not just the basketball player. And that's important. I can't emphasize enough. And that's truly what Fordham is all about in terms of our Cura Parsalis and our mission. And she got it. And I meant what I say. It sounds easy, but of course she wanted the job. She wants to be an A10 coach. But no, really wanting the job, wanting Fordham, understanding wanting that fit. It's not for everybody, right? Coming to the Bronx is not easy for everybody. So it has to be not only our love of them, but their love of us to truly make that partnership. I think you've seen that here. I think you see it a little bit now with Coach Ergo. And that's what excites me about Coach B. I truly see her wanted us. She wanted us from day one. She wanted us from hard. Not a day went by that she didn't text me or have someone call me. She was totally focused on the opportunity and the job, and that's truly what it takes to be successful here.
In the press conference, you mentioned her playing experience at Duke, had great success at Duke. And, I look at this program in particular where even in years past, a lot of the coaches have that playing experience at the collegiate level. Is that something that you value when you're making these hiring decisions?
I think it's important in order to have a strong relationship with student athletes, in order to build a good rapport with student athletes. And that can be tough, right, in terms of frustrating feedback, challenging feedback, not just success and celebration, but in order to have that kind of rapport and relationship, you need to know what it feels like to be on the other end of it. And I know she does that in terms of being the player and the level that she was. And she'll tell you, it wasn't easy at Duke. She didn't play right from the beginning. She had to put in extra time and had to earn her way in the ACC at the highest of levels. And I think that makes for a special coach when they're able to understand the student athlete and their day-to-day, and then of course be able to transition that into being their head coach, their leader. It's funny, you both get a kick out of this. One of the things she said, we brought her in for a tour last week. Always important before you make a hire and offer, show all the facilities, show the campus, show the dorms, everything that's Fordham. We have nothing to hide. Here's who we are, good and bad. Want to make sure. And she goes, wow, Rose Thrill reminds me of Cameron. And I've heard that from a lot of people before, but to hear that from a former player, I have not. So it's always funny to kind of hear that, and I think that kind of the similarities of the intimacy, the romance of Rose Thrill, and with the home court advantage that we all know it can bring.
Ed, speaking of that, just community feeling here at Fordham, Coach Mitchell spoke a lot in her presser about helping these young women be the best people they can be and how basketball is kind of her tool, her soapbox to do so. Can you expand a bit on just that aspect of hiring someone has the responsibility of not only preparing the best product on the court, but helping your student athletes be the best students, the best people, the best leaders,
At the end of the day, Chris, that is our job. That is the mission that we all believe in here at Fordham University. I think that's the mission, the DNA of what Fordham was built on in terms of opportunity, chance, and development, in terms of preparing and creating young leaders and the women and men for others. But I'll be honest with you, it's funny, you look at resumes and bios, and you all do a lot in terms of sports. You can find out who's a good coach, right? Not only by their accolades, not only by their championships, not only by the wins and losses. So you can get an idea quickly from paper. Oh, wow, this person can coach, right? I just talked about the CAA, my respect for that. Northeastern, good academic institutions, similar to Fordham, understanding our requirements. Academically, it was important for us. But at the end of the day, all right, so we have a pool of good coaches. But now who's the best fit for Fordham? Who understands who we are? And that's not just being Catholic. That's not just being religious. That's not just praising God, but understanding our DNA. And you kind of hear it from her. She got that from day one. And that's not an easy fit for everybody. So the next step in that process, all right, you evaluate some good coach. They're interested in us. We're interested in them. But now what's the best fit for us and that candidate? And that's what really that's the longer part of the process. And that's the beauty of having Board of Trustees involved, the president involved, the faculty involved, Jesuits involved, making sure that individual will be successful here. Because forget about just wins and losses, which you know how important that is. Not positioning her for success would be doing all of us a disservice. So that's really the efforts, and I think what she represents and her integrity and her family values, her core values, is exactly who Fordham is, and that's what makes her really the perfect fit for us here moving forward.
Once again, Fordham Athletic Director Ed Cull, Ed, thank you so much for taking the time today.
My pleasure. Anytime. Thank you so much for your help and support.
These men.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank
Ed.
you. Appreciate it.
We'll keep it right here for a little bit, but soon we're going to be joined by the new head coach, Bridgette Mitchell. And Chris, I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on the initial press conference, what Ed and Bridgette both said?
Yeah, I think that when you're trying to evaluate a new head coaching hire, there's a lot of expected discourse at the presser. It's kind of part of the job to say all the right things. It's expected. But what Coach Mitchell had to say, and to me, it's less about what Ed said and his real faith and excitement and how he said it. You can tell that this is not something that they're really trying to sell the fan base on. They're just telling the fan base about what kind of Coach Mitchell is, and they're just letting the fan base know what kind of energy Bridgette's going to bring to the table here at what she said is Rose Thrill.
You mentioned that authenticity. What Ed stressed to us is she wanted to be here. She wanted to be here more than we wanted her, and you already see how much that we wanted her to be here. What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Coach.
Oh, we're good. We are joined now by the new head coach, Bridgette Mitchell. And, Coach, it's our honor to welcome you in for the first time, Lou Orlando, Chris Berzian. And how does it feel?
Amazing. I'm pumped. Like this is awesome, and to have my family here to witness it today, and then just it's 1 p.m. and everybody at Fordham popped in to show support, and it's an amazing feeling.
We just talked to Ed Cullen. One of the things he stressed us, he said, you wanted to be here so bad. That was one of the reasons that we really wanted to bring her in. What was it about this program, this school that drew you to this position?
There's a number of things. I'm a firm believer that people make places, and when I think about Fordham and the history of it, and how it's an honor to help and to serve others here, right? And that's a value that I value, and so to be in a university where those align is really important. So that was exciting for me. Then the proximity from home, it's about an hour and a half from home, so I can have my family and friends all come to games, and be able to support throughout the career, and then the A10. Right, this league is competitive, but it's also very winnable. And so, getting the right athletes, student athletes that value, right, they want to excel both on and off of the court, to get the right fit here. I think it's going to be great.
Coach, I have to ask, not that to put any pressure on you, but I have already quoted something from your presser, something, marked it down as something I got to talk about. You finished with, "It's up for Fordham women's basketball." That has an energy to it. Talk about that energy that you bring to the table, and talk about how you plan to instill that in your young women on the team.
Yeah, for sure. So, my time at Northeastern, 2 years, right, and being able to do some special things because of the type of athlete that I recruit, right, and that can come here to the A10. And so in my mind and how I envision it, my confidence comes all from God, for sure. But I know that I believe in myself, and when I get my staff here in line, we're gonna get the right athletes to make some noise in the A10, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be joyous, and I'm excited for those that are gonna be along on the ride. And if they're not, they better get on real quick. Get in soon.
You look at your last 2 years in Northeastern. The first year, you guys were supposed to finish last in the conference. You finished on the top half. And then this season, supposed to finish 8th. You finished tied for first. You win Coach of the Year. Looking at this team where they're going to lose a lot of graduating talent, how do you replicate the success of always overperforming expectations and getting the best out of these young women?
Yeah, it's similar to what I talked about. I'm not going to promise wins. I'm going to promise you that we're going to compete, have a ball, right? We're going to have a great time. It's going to be fun, and we're going to work hard, right? And when you do those things on a consistent basis, you get results. One of the things that I pride myself in is the importance of player development. We do individual skills development. We do group sessions so that you're doing, guards and posts, working on your ball screen, offense and defense, right? Those things transfer onto the court. Numbers don't lie. And so when you get the repetition and you continue to do those things, you get confidence to be able to go out and perform. And that's what we're looking to do, for sure, for that.
Coach, you spoke about the A10. As I'm sure you've seen, the A10 has, on the women's basketball side, is known for a bit of a ground and pound style, a physical style of play. Can you talk about your style of coaching and how that fits, how that optimizes that style of play that I'm sure you're familiar with here in the A10?
Definitely. I think it's fair to say we're going to play fast. Right, we're going to get the pieces in here that are going to allow us to score within the first 8 seconds of the shot clock. if we can't score, a good shot, right? We talk a lot about good and great shots. And so a good shot for you might be the pull-up, right? But a great shot for the team might be my layup, even if it's contested because my percentages are higher. So we're always looking for a great shot. So within that first 8 seconds of the shot clock, we're looking to score it. Next 12 seconds is where we're looking to set up a continuity or some sort, but it's all free flowing, right? Like our players have a lot of freedom. I don't like to put people in a box. I like to exploit mismatches, right? So you're going to get a chance to, if you have a unique skill set as a recruit coming in here, you're going to get a chance to maximize it, right? Like, and it's going to be visible. ISOs on the side, right? ISOs on the block, and those opportunities to really take advantage of our mismatches, and that's something that you'll be able to see right away. And I think that every team, I think it's fair to argue, every team has a weak defender, right? We're going to locate the defender or those defenders, and we're going to exploit it, and it's going to be fun. And like I said, we're going to play fast-paced to answer. We're going to be up-tempo.
What are the themes? What are the ideals that you harp on when you talk about a Bridgette Mitchell style team?
Yeah, so Coach B's style would be grit, right? You're going to have a sense of toughness, and that nothing phases you, right? It's things are going to happen to us in a game. It's all about your response. Things are going to happen to you in life, right? It's all about how you respond to it. And I think that our players are going to be able to respond accordingly to get different outcomes, right? I think that another piece is skill level, right? Like you got to be able to score and defend. And I think that putting so much emphasis on our defense will really help us go a long way. The style that we're going to play defense, we're going to be in your face. Right, we're going to mix up defenses in terms of pressing, in terms of playing in the half court, and being able to block down. So it's going to be new to the style of play here, but I think that it will bode for success in the league, especially once we get familiar. We can't promise anything now. Our roster isn't even full yet, right? But the style and the type of player that I'm looking for, we're going to find, and it's going to be an exciting year.
Coach, when you started at Northeastern, you talked about your experience in basketball and what the game has done for you, but how you did at one point want to lead your own team and instill your own program and run your own team. Talk a bit about, and I'm sure there's both sides. You learned things that were maybe not easier, but less challenging than you were expecting. Some things more challenging. Talk about your experience leading your own program and how that treated you and what you can apply from that now here in the Bronx.
Definitely. I think that the biggest difference as going from assistant to head coach is you, as an assistant, you just make suggestions, right? Like you have tons of suggestions, and it's up to the head coach to make a decision. So now I'm one seat over, and I'm making those decisions, right? And so those decisions aren't always, pleasing to everyone. Right. And so that was an adjustment. I'm like, going from being a super cool assistant, like, all the girls into being like, hey, coach, hey, coach. It's an adjustment. Right. And so being able to navigate that and really still relay to my players that I want the best for them. It has been a big piece of my growth, and I'm looking forward to bringing that here, right? When I was in college, I experienced a coaching change, right? Like after my freshman year, the staff, Coach G and her coaches, went to Texas, and then we got Coach P, and so I've experienced that change, and so I want to take the things that I learned from that and bring them here. I think that that's a huge one, and then again, people make places, so I want to get a staff in here that also fits the culture of Fordham, and also that can relate, right, teach, and recruit. Those are the characteristics for my coaches, and so I'm really looking forward to doing that. But those would be the main ones, right, of having good people around you that want to work hard and have the same values as you, and then also being able to still be cool, but know that you're challenging them to be the best version of themselves for the young women.
You bring up that coaching change for a lot of these returning players. This is their third coach in the last 3 years. So what is it for you and your staff to implement stability, help the culture, implement your culture, and just make this transition as smooth as possible?
Yeah, it's something, our profession is fluid, but Fordham is a dream of mine. It's a dream come true to be this close to family. They'll be able to, come to games, right? And so there's a sense of security there, right? Like I'm happy already here. And so relaying that to my players, that importance of family, right? We're going to have a family here. Our women's basketball program is going to be a family. We're going to operate in that way. And I think that another piece in terms of, what was your latter part? Sorry.
In terms of culture, the future vision, stability.
Yes. So then getting players that fit. Oftentimes, a lot of players that enter the portal, right, in that transfer portal, and they're looking for difference, is because the school wasn't a fit for them. And so we're going to be really thorough in our recruiting process, right, so that we get the right fit of athlete, so that we can continuously build a tradition, getting back to the championship days of the women's basketball program.
Coach, something about your approach that I like in my quick research, of your resume is that you've said a lot, frankly, in post-game press conferences that whether win or lose, it wasn't about the opponent. It's not about the opponent. It never will be about the opponent, that it's about your team, your group of young women. Can you talk about that philosophy? It seems it will be following you here to the Bronx. Can you expand on that philosophy, why it's so important to you?
For sure. That comes from my mom. I'm not worried about what the next man or woman is doing. I'm focused on my growth and being the best version of myself. And I instill that in our team. And I'm great you caught on to that because it's important. Everybody's journey and path is different. I can't compare myself to you. Comparison's the thief of joy. If I look at you and your life and your time frame and your scope, I'm going to think negatively about mine. Like, man, this isn't where I'm supposed to be. But it is. It's where you're supposed to be. You have to bloom where you've been planted. And for us and our team to be successful, we have to measure it based upon where we were the day before, right? The game before. If we, play someone and we blow them out by 20, yeah, that's cool. It's a win. It's great. Some people got to play who wouldn't have gotten to play. I understand the excitement around it. But that next game out, you have to be better and sharper. That's how you're going to grow. We're going to watch defense. You let her do something, right? There's an opportunity to impose your will, and we didn't, right? And so I think that that's going to be a separator for us as a team in this league.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for taking the time today. Congrats on being named head coach of this Fordham women's basketball program. And we can't wait to see what the future holds.
Thank you. I'm pumped. It's up.
Thanks
It's
for
up.
spending the time with us,
Thank
Coach.
you.
We
so much,
appreciate
Coach.
you.
Thank you.
Chris, a lot to be excited about for sure.
Absolutely, Lou. We've got an energy, as we spoke about here, thanks to Coach B in this room, that is very passionate, very energetic, but also just, it seems ready. It seems calm, it seems prepared. And what I've enjoyed about hearing from Coach Bridgette Mitchell herself, hearing from Ed Cole, is just the confidence with which they speak about what culture is going to be instilled here. It's not a question of, will we be able to accrue a group of athletes? No, it's no matter how physically strong or long these players are, no matter whether the team has 8 7-foot-tall ball handlers or a couple people that look like you and myself out there running the point, they're going to play hard. And they're going to play like they want it, like they want to be here, like they want to be here at Fordham. And I think that for our wonderful Fordham fan base at home, that there's nothing much else that they can ask for except for a team that plays up to the passion that the fans bring to the table. And it seems that with the passion that Coach Bridgette Mitchell brought just to her opening presser, like she said, 1 p.m., middle of the day, Tuesday, not everyone's favorite day of the week, and the Fordham Hearts are here and they're beating, and you can feel the energy in the air, Lou. It's tangible.
Absolutely. You saw what a coaching change did for the men's program with Keith Ergon, what he was able to do with that program in 1 year. And this is a Fordham women's basketball program that's already had success. You look at the last 5 years and consistently at the top of the A10s, won the A10 tournament in 2019. So this is a program that's had success, that expects success out of itself. And I think you hear a lot of those sentiments reflected in just Coach Mitchell's opener and talking with us today about how it's on us and what they expect from us, what she expects from the team. And something I heard from her that I'm not sure you hear a ton of is making sure that the players that they find are the right fit, right? It's one thing to go out and find talent, but to make sure that the players that they're recruiting, it's the right fit for what they're trying to do.
Yeah, Lou, you see often teams that view themselves as being in a rebuilding phase or a retooling phase, they want to just do what they can to get talent on the court. But it seems apparent that Coach Bridgette Mitchell she's set her boundaries from day one. She's set her guidelines. You go bowling, set up the rails. Her rails are up, and they're in place. And you've got to be this kind of player to play in her system. You've got to be this kind of worker. You have to be this kind of athlete. You have to be this kind of person. And all of those qualifiers seem to have a couple common denominators of hardworking, of passionate, of grateful, happy to be here. You know, the first thing Coach Mitchell did as she now spends time developing some signature handshakes with her new young women here, these new Fordham Rams that she'll be coaching. The first thing she said was, you know, all glory goes to God. And I think that shows her view on where she is, how she's made it, where she is. Yes, it's about her hard work, but it's also about keeping her faith strong and showing her beliefs. I think there's something admirable about that, her willingness to be so outgoing regarding how she is where she is.
You said it, Chris. Have to give a huge thank you today. Joe DeBari, Ed Cole, Ryan Ulick for helping to set all things up. Big thank you to Coach Mitchell for taking the time to talk to us today. That's going to do it, I think, for our coverage of this press conference. Once again, Bridgette Mitchell, officially the new head coach of Fordham Women's Basketball. This press conference is a production of Fordham Athletics and WFUV Sports.